Good evening. It is May 17th, 2016. My name is Jacob.
And I'm Danielle.
And we are the Proteus Podcast, ideas in all shapes and forms. Today's broadcast brought to you in part by the letter C for cat.
Cat, which I have locked in a room.
That'll learn it. Speaking of cats,
which I don't want to hear whine.
This morning I was puttering about painfully in my kitchen, and I heard an ominous sound. I'm a big fan of ominous sounds these days after someone threatened to kill me. Anyways, I had to go out back and check it out to make sure there wasn't someone lurking in my backyard. Instead of an individual lurking in my backyard, I was presented with the gleeful sight of 6 kittens play wrestling against my back door.
Aw, kittens play wrestling on your back door. That's like a gift from Kitty Jesus.
Yeah, it was cute. They're not friendly, they're wild city cats, but it's fun to see kittens. I like kittens. The internet, it pretty much runs on cat pictures and the other stuff.
No, that's true. Our cats are probably cranky because it's getting close for them to be fed.
Oh.
So, yeah, you know, they seem to have better biological clocks than we do as humans. Or at least than myself as a human. I forget to eat, and it could go on for hours, sometimes a day or two before I realize that all I've had is water.
It's just you're sitting there and realize all you've had to eat this week is 3 gummy bears and some scotch.
Right. The worst is when I am doing like Ingress things and I'm walking around, and I'll have like a couple energy drinks and a lot of water in my bag, and I'll be like, oh wow, I'm really hungry. What time is it? It's like 7 o'clock at night. When did I start? Well, 7 a.m. I've been running off of water and Red Bull.
I'll trade you because sometimes I forget to stop eating.
Well, forgetting to stop eating, that's a whole different problem.
It's like, oh, there's delicious food here. And then after a while, you're like, what happened to all that delicious food? I seem to have eaten all of it. That was supposed to last 4 days. Oops.
So I'm excited because speaking of food, I'm going to New Orleans next week.
Nolans? Hey.
So I love Creole Cajun food.
I'm learning to love Creole Cajun food. I'm developing a fondness as I'm slowly introduced to it by people.
Oh man, there's just something about andouille sausage.
Now that is my favorite sausage, hands down. The brand I get, because it's the brand I can get down here, is Cajun Holler brand andouille sausage. And talk about just... I've been known to make a meal out of a package of sausage.
You know, what I want to do is I want to find a place, and I know I can, that does like homemade andouille sausage, gumbo, jambalaya, and I'm going to find a way to package it and send it to myself back to Washington.
That sounds wonderfully dangerous and wonderfully wonderful.
I mean, what's the TSA standards on frozen, on freeze-dried ice?
I don't know, but you have more experience than I do with sending food through the mail.
Do I?
You told me a story involving a sandwich and your brother.
Oh, that wasn't me. That was my cousin.
Yeah, you're there by proxy.
Yeah, my cousin decided to send a mayonnaise sandwich to a friend while he was in the service because his friend didn't want him to eat the sandwich. So I was like, fine, I'll mail it back to you. So he did, and it's San Diego in the middle of the summer. So the bomb dog smelled it, went nuts. So the San Diego post office was closed.
It's just a great story on so many levels to me.
Yeah, we go into more details, but I want to focus on the food.
Yeah.
The good food, not
the
disgusting.
Things I've been prone to making with andouille sausage, seeing as we were once on that topic, is I have become fond of slicing it up, frying it in a skillet with mushrooms, and just making that's all it is mushrooms and sausage. but it's really good.
Yeah,
With butter.
Uh-huh. What you can do with that is you can make like a cream sauce with it.
Ooh, don't get me started on cream sauces. I'll eat the whole pan.
Cream sauces with it, and then when you do that, you fold that into some cooked noodles.
Ooh, so kind of like an andouille stroganoff.
Yes.
That is a wise thing that you have suggested.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't like noodles, you can always do it with rice.
I'm a fan of noodles. In fact, I had noodles today. I made my, in some circles, famous spaghetti.
Some circles famous spaghetti.
Yes.
Is that like its actual name?
Well, no, but I know it's not famous all over the world, but I know certain people that consider it famous amongst the circles they travel.
Ah, okay.
You've had my spaghetti, you know.
I have, and I very much enjoy your spaghetti.
I've yet to learn how to make it a little enough spaghetti for less... Correction, let me rephrase. I've yet to learn how to make spaghetti for less than 10 people. So, I get to eat spaghetti for the next 2 or so days.
That's how I am when I make lasagna. Because, I make that lasagna that my mom used to make. And I will buy the ingredients to feed a 15-person family. Because that's how my mom made it. Because we had a 20-person family.
Yeah, my mom always, cooked to make leftovers when I was a kid. So she made, enough spaghetti for at least one more meal. So at least 8 people worth of spaghetti. And that's how I do it. I don't know how to do it any other way. It's like this recipe calls for 2 bell peppers and an onion. What the heck am I going to do with a third of an onion if I just use part of the... it's just sort of this... It's an irreducible recipe at this point. 1 can of tomatoes. I don't need a half a can of tomatoes in my fridge. We'll just make the whole recipe.
Yeah, I don't even think about it like that. I'm just like, well, in order to get that taste that I want, I have to fill out 2 casserole dishes.
Yeah, that's the big part of it. Is like, I know how to get the taste in these ratios. If I start monkeying with it, it won't come out right.
One time with my lasagna, I had a deep casserole dish. Like, it was a deep Pyrex. It was like maybe 8 inches tall. And I layered the spaghetti not the spaghetti, the lasagna from the bottom all the way to the very top.
Oh
man, it was so good. I used so many mushrooms in that. I was like, this shall be the most mushroomiest, beefiest lasagna of all time.
That sounds amazing. It reminds me of back in the early days when my mom first discovered that gluten was actively trying to kill her and not just a nuisance. And so we started rapidly eliminating normal things like noodles from our diet. And Mom was the one that did the cooking, so we just ate what she prepared. And she more or less invented a mushroom lasagna, where layers of mushrooms replace the noodles.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. See,
Oh, yeah.
the first serving was really great when you first get it, and it's shaped like lasagna and looks mostly like lasagna, and it's delicious. But what was even better was the leftovers, because after it marinated in the fridge for a day, it basically turned into a mushroom lasagna flavored stew. It didn't hold its shape, but it was, and you could eat it with a spoon, and it was just this cheesy, mushroomy, meaty deliciousness.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. I've never thought about replacing the lasagna noodles with mushrooms, like layering like sliced portobellos.
Yeah, we always just used the white shiitakes because they're the cheap ones, and that's what they carried at our stores. But, just slice them all the same thickness and kind of do layers of them. But you could do so many things with so many kinds of mushrooms there, which I always felt was a better choice than using, like, the slices of zucchini, which are exactly the wrong texture for me in lasagna because they get wrong.
Yeah, zucchini not really belonging in the lasagna.
But I've had a lot of vegetarian lasagna where for some reason they put zucchini instead of noodles. I don't understand that, but it's not the same.
Man,
But
I have to say, now what I want to do is I want to do a blend of meat for a lasagna with, where we started all this andouille sausage, and have an andouille sausage lasagna.
oh, you are on to something there.
Yeah, I think so. I think in, oh yeah, like a Cajun style lasagna.
Because if you really wanted to, you could probably toss your andouille sausage back through a grinder and turn it back into a ground sausage. It'd still have the same flavor, but
Yeah.
it'd be more structurally appropriate to a lasagna. That's a fascinating idea.
Fascinating.
Yeah, I'm trying to do more cooking at home because it's expensive to not do so, and also I
Mm-hmm.
like my own cooking, so there's that. And I enjoy it. I really do enjoy cooking. It's a nice, rewarding thing. You get something good out of it at the end, usually.
I do enjoy my own cooking. The thing, though, about my own cooking is that even though I enjoy it, I want to cook for a group of people.
Yeah,
I,
that's
I,
where it does fall apart for me. I'm still used to cooking for lots of people. Learning to cook for just myself has been a real interesting experience.
I mean, I have Krista, so that's something. I'm cooking for two,
Yeah.
but like the idea of hosting, of like, oh, we have some friends coming over. I almost always volunteer to cook because I love that satisfaction of like trying something a little bit new
And
and
then
then
trying it
feeding
out on
people
everyone.
and seeing them enjoying it.
Yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
Now, that being said, there has been at least one occasion where I have volunteered to cook. I have made all the food. I tasted it. I thought it was the worst thing ever. And the guests arrived expecting one of my home cooked meals and having, like, I ordered pizza.
Thankfully, it's never happened to me. See, I have the
Oh,
good fortune.
Kamikaze Cat has come back.
Oh my! Any any unusual noises you hear henceforth are cat related.
And they're all cat related.
Um,
Sorry, I sidetracked us away from
yeah.
delicious food talk because
Back
the
before I
cats
was
came back.
aspiring invalid and mostly housebound these days, uh, several of my good friends here in town, pretty much on a Friday or Saturday night basis during the week, throw down and have a big doings. And I mean, this isn't like an actual party. It's everyone shows up, we bring things, we cook, we eat, we drink until it's too late, you know, and we go home. And but it's all about one time we did a shrimp boil recently. Oh,
Mm,
talk about good food. A
good
shrimp
eats.
boil or fajitas or a brisket or ribs or something. Everyone contributes and we just sit around and have a good time. I'm missing out on all of that because I am not good social company these days because I hurt myself somehow.
Yep. Still
But
in the pains of the backs.
yeah, it's been real incapacitating lately. It's not the handiest. But I'm really looking forward to whenever I manage to get this situation fixed so I can go back to socializing and having a good time, which always seems to incorporate food.
Oh, yes, because the best of carousing has food accompanied with the carouse.
Yeah. And vacations. I've always said, for as long as I can remember, that vacations are simply a series of conversations in between meals. At least all the vacations I go on. So you go visit family, you sit around and talk, and you eat a meal. Then you sit around and talk about that meal and what the next meal might be, and a few other odds and ends, and then you have a meal. And it's just a good old relaxing time. It's the kind of vacation I like to have because I don't have enough good old relaxing times.
Yeah, my vacations, I will say that I do spend almost as much time planning where. Whoa, Vincent, that's my alley, man. Why are you driving so fast down it? Anyway, I spend as much time during vacations looking for food, like planning out a good place to eat, an interesting place to eat, as much as I do the activities that we're going to do while on that vacation.
Yeah. See, I've always had this, probably stems from my childhood and the kind of vacations we took where we pretty much, drove to a national park or something and went camping and just sort of took it easy. That vacation, I'm all for the adventure vacation, and anyone that wants to have an adventure vacation and go hiking through the Alps or parasailing in Paraguay or whatever, go for
Nice
it.
alliteration.
That's what you want to do. But for me, I hate coming back from a vacation more tired than when I left, because I have to be tired at work anyways. So I would like my vacation to be a time of, recovery. And so that's always my structure for those things.
So your adventure vacation ideally would be like one place on a beach where they bring you tasty beach food, tasty beach drinks. You can read and just relax.
Close. More interested in mountains and such and good company, but the emotion of it's there.
Emotion. Good. We did a camping trip a couple years ago with a friend. It was for his birthday, and it was up in the mountains up here in Washington, and he got a whole campsite like reserved just for his birthday party.
Wow.
Yeah. It was like, you know how like the federal government or state governments have like all these like little campsites just peppered throughout the country that most people never know about.
Yeah,
like,
I've stayed in half of them.
Yeah, right. So it was like one of those. So he like reserved the whole thing, and we went out there and we had a good time. And it was gorgeous up in the mountains, running stream nearby. But myself, I'm not a great camper.
Oh.
It's not because I don't know how to camp, but I just don't enjoy waking up dirty. I don't like sleeping on the ground.
Well,
like a real bed.
You got to bring yourself the appropriate amenities, but yeah.
So
the older I get, the less fun sleeping on the ground becomes.
Right. So I convinced Krista for us to stay about 45 minutes away from the campsite in the middle of the night. During the daytime, it's like 30-minute drive. And stay at this like mountain resort.
Right.
And everyone was kind of like, oh, so you're not actually camping with us? And we're like, oh, I'm going to go and stay at this place with a bed and a shower. We'll be back in the morning. And they're like, but it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. And we're like, that's fine. We'll be back in the morning. We're going to spend all day with you guys. But there was like that little bit of skepticism.
Yeah.
And the next morning, before we drove back out to the campsite, we showered. And then we went to Starbucks. And we got 2 of those coffee to go, like spigot boxes.
I'll take your word for it. I've never been in a Starbucks.
Well, like one of those, like, it's like, it'll carry like 3 gallons of coffee.
Oh, so it's basically like boxed wine, only coffee.
Right, and keeps it hot and warm. So we picked up like 2 of those, and we went back to the campsite, and we're pulling in, and people are like, you can tell that people have been up for like maybe an hour, but everyone looks like completely destroyed. And there's like one little sad pot of coffee like percolating near the fire. and
these people don't know how to camp.
Right. And so I'm like, I bring out the coffee. I'm like, I brought coffee, and everyone's like, what? like 18 people are like, oh yes, yay! And I was like, yes, my glamping has been, I don't know, justified.
Sounds like whenever I go somewhere with my dad and we do things like that, is, well, exact opposite, because at this point neither of us can sleep anymore, and so we're up at the crack of 4:30 or 5, very carefully, quietly milling about and making coffee and waiting for the world to start. And so by the time everyone else shows up, we're just sitting there calmly sipping our coffee and being awake, waiting. It's just, oh, hello, welcome, we've been here for hours. What
have,
took you so long?
have some coffee, will you? Hmm?
Yeah. It's just how we are. I guess it's my family curses. Eventually I'll be able to sleep like 3 hours a night and have to lay around and wait.
No, you use that time. Like, I get up really early. I get up way earlier than I need to. And so it's like, and I was just laying in bed and I was like, this is terrible. I hate it. So now when I wake up, I get dressed and I go out walking and I explore a little bit. I
Yeah.
play some Ingress.
Yeah, you get your morning stuff done. My dad gets all of his high caliber worrying done in the morning like that. He lays there and does his worrying and then goes out the rest of the day without doing it.
See, but that's I
Listen,
don't
you got to
want
get
to
your worrying
dedicate.
in somewhere, and that's where he does it. I like
I
to
don't want to
intersperse
dedicate
mine
time
with
to
throughout the day.
worry. And I really don't want my bed to be the place where I dedicate time to worry. I mean, I can worry in a lot of places. I can worry and do things and get stressed out about things, but there's some places where I don't want that.
Well, I'm
My
not saying
bed.
it's an ideal situation. I'm just saying that's what he seems to do.
Hmm. Well, as you get older and you begin to gain that ability, I suggest to you, Jake, instead of laying in bed to worry,
No,
go on a walk.
I get up and clean
process
my
it.
house as quietly as possible.
Your house.
Well, it's got to get cleaned sometime
But why quietly as possible?
because it's
Oh,
3
'cause
a.m.
you
and I don't
live-
want to wake the neighbors.
But do you have a neighbor that shares a wall?
Yeah.
Uh,
You know, what can you do?
with a drunken sailor?
You shave his belly with a rusty razor early in the morning.
Yeah, there you go. And then you offer him some grog.
Grog. I had we'll talk about that later.
Grog, rum, hurricane, New Orleans, food.
Food. Speaking
Full
of food
circle.
and camping, though, it brings me back to some of my fondest memories are food eaten while camping when I was a kid. Because I found out late in life that we might have been poor when I was a kid, and so I didn't know that everyone else didn't do these things. But I have these memories of mom making oatmeal raisin cookies in a campsite somehow, and we ate cookies, and they were wonderful. And you put a little piece of cookie on the bench and see if the chipmunk could come and get it, and like corned beef hash and these things that mom making from scratch on the Coleman stove or on a campfire at these various national park campsites. And I remember, in my memory, it's the greatest food I ever ate. Of course,
Well, it's
food
great
eaten
food.
outside always tastes better.
Yeah, eating outside, and that's why patio restaurants are so big. I think people actually like eating outside.
Yeah, it makes
Most
food taste
people.
better.
Makes food taste better. There's you don't have that smell of the restaurant.
Yeah.
Like I
You're
don't
not
want to
smelling
smell
other
other
people's
people's
food.
food.
Yeah. There's a lot going on there. More oxygen, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Some more free radicals floating in the air. Truck exhaust.
Free radicals.
All that other good stuff.
But we used to do campfire cookies. My mom would make them on the top of a Dutch cast iron Dutch oven.
Oh, yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, she'd put them on top of that and they'd cook from the bottom up. She'd also make biscuits in the Dutch oven.
Oven biscuits.
Yeah, Dutch oven biscuits are so good.
Man, I have a really alarming relationship with bread.
In that it's awesome and therefore it must be eaten.
Yeah. So it's like I think to myself, I could bake a loaf of bread. I'm like, don't do that. You'll eat the whole thing. Because that's what happened last time. I'd had a day off back in... This has been years ago now. I haven't done this since because I'm learning my lessons. I think I'll make a loaf of bread today because it was like November and cool enough that I could bake without setting my house on fire. And I made this loaf of bread, and making a loaf of bread from scratch takes 2/3 of the day, sort of.
Uh-huh.
And it gets done, and I've got this hot, fresh bread right there. I've got a block of cheese, and I'm like, I could have cheese and bread.
Cheese and bread.
And after a while, I didn't have any cheese left, and I didn't have any bread left. And I was like, well, that was my meal for today. A loaf of bread and a block of cheese.
We would make campfire hash, is what we called it. It was like potatoes and rotel or chopped up tomatoes and cheese and all this. And we'd have that with the Dutch oven biscuits, and we would also make gravy from scratch on
gravy.
the campfire. So the breakfast, like, and this is to this day one of my favorite foods, talking about when you're a kid and like camp food. Those potatoes with the cheese and the egg and all that, next to these Dutch oven biscuits with homemade gravy just poured on top of it.
Yeah, it's just a better kind of living sometimes.
Sometimes. But you know what I also remember from those times, though? How much I disliked cleaning up.
Yeah, washing your pans in a creek is always an interesting experience.
Yeah, because it's like, so frustrating.
It reminds me of a thing I've thought about from time to time, because deep down inside I'm a little bit of a survivalist and cogitate on this sort of thing occasionally. And I've often wondered how exactly one would cook an egg if one didn't have anything but a fire. No utensils, no pots, no pans, no water. Well, even if you had water, it would be fairly worthless at that point because you don't have any utensils. I think I know how to do it, but I've never had any reason to actually try.
Okay.
And I'm thinking your best bet would be sand, and you basically build a fire on a sandy spot or around and get some sand piping ass hot. You're going to need to poke a little hole in the egg so it doesn't explode, and very carefully put it in that hot sand. The hole doesn't get covered, but it's there. And then give it some time, 3 to 10 minutes depending on how you want your egg, and then filch it back out of there with some sticks. And I think that would work. Because from what I understand, at one point some Native Americans cooked popcorn in a similar way, which sounds absolutely awful, but hey.
Wait, popcorn is amazing.
Would you like popcorn that was popped in a pan of hot sand?
Well, maybe
it might be just a tad on the gritty side. I question the veracity of that claim and I don't remember where I read it, but I was like, doesn't sound right.
A pan of hot sand.
Well, like a crockery, and you've got hot sand, and you put it in the fire, and you put your kernels there. And I don't know. It wasn't clearly explained, but it was this claim I read in some history book. I'm like, boy, that sounds terrible. It seems like they could find a better way. So anyways, now that we've had a good laugh at the sand popcorn, how jaded are you today?
Well, I got really sick into last week.
Awesome. That means you got better because you're still here.
Yeah, and then I got better, but it was the worst pain I have ever had in my entire life. But now I'm a lot better.
Well, good.
And last time I was really mad. I had the
government on your mind.
I had the government on my mind. So that was like a 12.
That's enough to get anyone all riled up.
I'm drastically lower this week. I would say I'm at about a 4.
Oh, that's very good for you.
Yeah.
I think I'm somewhere similar. 4, maybe a 5. I'm still right on that fulcrum of suctitude because I haven't gotten this back pain issue alleviated, but everything else in my life hasn't been super horrible, so, we'll go with it.
That's pretty good.
We'll keep the teeter-totter in balance for another week and see what happens.
Oh, yay, teeter-totter of balance above the fulcrum of suctitude.
Yeah.
Do you have a quote for us?
I forgot to look up a quote. Let me think about it while you do yours.
I will. And mine actually has to do about food. I had a different quote. And we talked so much about food today. I wanted to quote Maya Angelou. Eating is so intimate. It's very sensual. When you invite someone to sit at your table and you want to cook for them, you're inviting a person into your life.
That is very good.
Maya Angelou was a smart woman. Is a smart woman. I don't think she's dead. Meanwhile, someone's going to be really mad at me for saying that Maya Angelou is dead. Oopsie.
Well, you know. Scrolling very quickly through my accumulated ridiculousness that I've ever collected.
You are such a noob.
Yeah, I'm going to go with one that I pretty sure... Well, actually, this one's fine. This is from David Biru. I've probably used this before because it's one of my favorite quotes. And it's, some mistakes are just too much fun to only make once. Yeah.
Well, on that note...
Yeah,
sorry,
I don't know.
My quote's better.
Yeah.
I win the quote game this week.
You win the quote game. We'll just go... we'll whip out the other one. Everything is awesome, fundamentally.
Everything is awesome.
No! Not that.
Everything
Never
is
that.
better when you work as a team.
You're fired.
So, if you enjoyed listening to us, or if you hated listening to us, please leave us a comment or note wherever you may have found us or downloaded this podcast, whether that be on iTunes or Stitcher, or you found us on Twitter. Tweet us up. If you want to complain at us, send us an email at proteuspodcast@gmail.com.
I still don't remember what Stitcher is.
It's a podcast digital
thing. On that enlightening note, I've been Jacob.
And I'm still Danielle.
And we have been the Proteus Podcast. Good night, everyone.
Good night.